I'm here to look at these bite marks and try and piece together what this animal was doing, or actually more specifically what someone else did to it.
Right now I'm photogrammetrizing the bones that have been prepared. So I'm using digital photographs to create 3D models in the computer. When that's done, we can start mounting the dinosaur in the computer.
My job is to prep bones. I'm basically cleaning everything off the bone that doesn't belong there.
My task in this project is to do all the welding. So I take the drawing and then I need to engineer it and build it.
So my area of expertise is paleo behavior and ecology, so trying to restore how these animals lived and interacted. I'm interested in them as living animals, and yes, we have to work with bones and footprints and eggs and, in my case, bite marks, but it can tell you something about how they lived. It can tell you something about how they interacted, what they did on a daily basis, who was feeding on who, and how often, and where, and what kind of feeding were they doing, and was this primarily predation or scavenging? And you can actually start to build up a picture of the real ecology of these things.
It looks like fresh bone that somebody just colored in dark brown, and that's it.
Still just completely in shock at how beautiful this bone is. Usually you don't see bone quality this nice.
In this case, everything is just wonderfully preserved, good bone quality, good surfaces. There's very little deformation in the bones. We will be able to reconstruct the skull really well and use that for studies on like biting mechanisms and all these kinds of things. The preservation is good for the bones typically is not so good for preserving feathers, because there you want those pancake specimens. So there's no feathers on it or stuff like that. Doesn't mean that there were no feathers.
Every stroke of the knife, or there's excitement in all of this.
I often think like, oh man, I'm the first human to see this. When I tell people what I do, they don't even believe it.
This is a soda blaster. It's a blast booth for sandblasting virtually. It's a lot more like salt. When you blast with this, it hits the bone and explodes. And when it explodes, it actually takes off what you're trying to get off the bone.
What's interesting to me about this one is the nature of the injuries. Craniofacial biting, these kinds of combat between individuals, are really quite common. We have lots of tyrannosaurs which basically show various injuries on their faces and show various degrees of healing. But the nature of the ones in this animal seem to be unusual. It's going to take a while to work out what I think it is. We may never know, but certainly the degree of injuries and the location of them is quite strange, and in particular they seem to be focused around this part of the jaw, so right at the front of the lower jaw, and there's a major injury there, unlike any I've seen in any other tyrannosaur.
Because I'm working on the head, the biggest thing is just how this creature ate things. Like it was a hunter. I mean, it didn't just pick at the bones, like it actually ate the bones, you know, like it had clamped down on anything, and like it was breaking teeth all the time, and teeth are growing back in all the time, and it was, yeah, like that is mind-blowing to me. Oh, you got a bone like that, I'm just gonna eat it.
So when you find big bites from big teeth on something, you know exactly who did it. There's no ambiguity. We have huge bite marks that have ripped up the face of a Tyrannosaurus. The only thing that did that was a Tyrannosaurus. Because we know this is T-Rex on T-Rex combat. Why and how? That's what I'm going to try and work out.
And they have to be cleaned really carefully, because a lot of this stuff I think is quite important for science.
How do you go about building the structure for dinosaurs? There's absolutely zero online, zero. It's just such a rare thing to be into. Mine has to be portable. The bone is it's solid rock basically, so it's heavy, super heavy. I mean, the pubis is probably like I bet that's 1,000 pounds. Like, it's heavy. Almost every single T.rex mount is designed to be in one spot for the next 100 years, right? And that affords you a lot of extra things that I don't have. When you get into a 40-foot dinosaur, you have to support these bones in a way that's going to be safe for the bones and safe for the public. And then it's going to tour around the world. Like, this dinosaur is going to be seen by millions of people. I'm building a T.rex. When I say that to people, I don't know, they must think I'm crazy.